This is my video on how I am making an EPCOT wall in my bedroom using the triangle trifecta type design that we see on the EPCOT ball in Walt Disney World in Florida. So I've started filming this after thinking about I should film it. So just as an update as a back video, I have painted the back wall black, 2 coats of black. I used Dulux colour Rich Black, 2 coats, one over the other, let them thoroughly dry. Then I have plotted these horizontal lines going across 18 inches apart with this thin masking tape, which I can share. And then I also, along these lines, marked every 9 inches across to sort of help later on with the plotting out the points. So then we've got 9 inches, 9 inches, these are 18 inches apart. This is going to be the height of each triangle. And then, so once we've started to plot those, then we'll start to put the colour on and it sort of goes from there. But this is a bit of a back video because I didn't film the wall blank in the first place. But yeah, it's good, exciting. Just to show a little close-up of now running the tape from this vertical point through the star section and through there, just so you can see it close up. So I would kind of, line this tape. You could just hold it, you could even hold it from the star, just to press it down a little, and then that gives you that little bit of manoeuvrability for it. Push it going up, and then if the tape overhangs the point, you can just peel it back a little bit with the scissors, straight line, and then that would be that point. And then carrying on the tape over on this side, just sort of pushing it down, and then cutting the tape so that the edge of the tape is cut within that section that you're going to want for the edges of the 3 colour section, so it's all nice and crisp. You've got these nice V shapes all the way around the different points. Okay, so all the taping is finally done. Definitely took longer than I anticipated. I would say that the most frustrating bit has been the tape then coming away from the wall. So it's just been a lot of pressing it back down, pressing it back down. So actually I'm now quite keen to get the black paint over the top to almost kind of hold them down to stop having to push them back down again all the time. So now it feels like a big step. I'm going to paint a coat of the black paint again, same as this one, over the top to seal in all of the edges, so that when we start painting the 3 greys, none of the 3 greys seep in underneath. So everything I've read, other people doing it, all say don't miss this step. So I'm going to begin that now. Now just taping over the yellow lines that are going to be the outlines with the black paint to seal it in, as discussed on other videos and blogs, that's supposed to then seal the edges so that hopefully none of the grey paint seeps in through the gaps. I'm just going through the edges, going through edge with the edge brush, rollering and just sort of giving it a skim over and just sort of pressing as I go any that I sort of see that may have just lifted a tiny bit. Okay, so it's the next day after painting the black, 1 coat of black paint over the yellow marked sectioning lines. This is all dry now. So my next stage is to actually start painting 3 shades of grey, which feels like a big deal. I printed out some existing patterns of the EPCOT design, just to help me be sure which sections are going to be which colour. So I've just numbered them 1, 2, 3, and then I've actually coloured a section in just to make sure. So for this one, 1 is the darkest, 2 is the mid grey, and 3 is the light grey, just so I can have that as a reference to hopefully make sure I don't put any colour in the wrong sections. I was a little bit concerned about where this is so black for the lighter shade of grey, so I'm actually going to paint an undercoat of white onto the lightest of the 3 sections before actually painting the light grey onto it, hopefully just to try and lift that up underneath, because of the black being such a contrast underneath. So I'm going to do that first today. I'm just going to share what I have here. What I've chosen to go with is just a little pack of art brushes where they are angled, just so I can just sort of take my time and not get too close to the edges and overlap them. So I've got a little thin angled brush, which I know will take longer but hopefully more precise. And then I just bought a little some craft roller off of AliExpress, I think this one was, because even in the decorating shops the painting rollers are still, I think, just too wide to get close enough for those fine gaps. So this was actually the smallest one I could find, so we'll give that a go and hopefully it will work. I'm feeling nervous about when it comes to peeling off this tape. I've got visions of pulling it off and it all ripping and it not working, but we won't know till we try, so fingers crossed. But we'll start the exciting bit of putting the real colours on the wall today. To show a little close-up of how I'm painting each section with the tools. So I've got just some paint in the pot, little angled art brush, and then all I'm doing is just running the art brush along the edge of the tape border and just trying to, because it's obviously very, very narrow anyway, and just going over the edge of the tape ever so slightly, because being mindful that then this neighbouring section will have to kind of share that bit of tape, so I'm trying to not go over it too much, and then just making sure that it's sort of solid colour, so in this case the white over the edge, so there's no little tiny holes and gaps within the paint. I'm just sort of loading the brush up a bit more generously along the edges, and then just sort of just applying a little bit of pressure to the brush to just make sure that there's no gaps. So I'm just doing the perimeter of each section in this manner, and then I'm sort of just angling the brush, so turning it on its side. That's the flat side, and then the thin side. Just want to get to those corners, and if you just look really carefully, you can see when you've gone over the edge of the tape just enough. Just kind of bringing that down. It's obviously a very slow job, but hopefully worth it in the end, like so. And then I've just got a little bit of paint. I've just got a little plastic lid, just sort of rubbing this little craft roller, start in the middle to sort of get the bulk of the paint off, and then just sort of very slowly getting as close to the edge as I feel like I can without going over the tape. And just kind of rollering it on like so. Just sort of fill the area, and then I'm just sort of, because I can't roller into the corner, I'm just kind of lightly dabbing and angling precariously in those left and right corners, like so, and then making sure that it's kind of as even, and then just lightly, as you would with a normal wall painting, just lightly over the top to try and distribute the coverage as best you can. I'm not being too particular with it at this point because this is just the undercoat. That's it. A little update on the wall. So still going with painting this is just white, not the lighter shade of grey, onto the right section. Still using my chart to check it. I'm just sort of working my way down, sort of done the floor level ones that I can reach first, and then I'll get up the ladder and do the upper ones, and then hopefully start moving on to a different shade of grey. But this is what I managed to do in one day yesterday, so progress is definitely slower than I thought it was going to be, but it is fiddly doing it with the little brush and the roller, but we'll keep going. I have finished painting the white undercoat for the white sections for the 3 greys, and I've just been now working on doing the darkest of the 3 greys, which I'm using battlement grey, which was a Valspar at B&Q mix one, so I sort of laboured over picking the colours, and that's the grey I've gone for. I'm just still doing the same thing from using the angled brush and the little mini roller, using my chart to make sure I'm doing the right ones, the right sections. I've already made a few little mistakes which I will correct. Update on how I'm doing with the EPCOT wall. So far all the layers, all the sections have had one coat of the right paint. So we've got the dark grey, the mid grey, and then the white, which I was doing as a base, or the lightest grey. On reflection, I actually think I could have not bothered with doing this as an undercoat, and I think 2 coats of the actual white grey would have been fine. So I think I accidentally made more work for myself, but I've done it now. And now I'm just working through the second coat of paint for each of the colours. I've done the upper sort of 2 sections have had 2 coats of grey. So like this is 2 coats of grey, that's only the one for the dark grey. But it's just all taking a very, very long time. Just doing it individually with the little brush and the mini roller. It'll be worth it, but it is a very slow, long process. But just still really hoping that the tape is going to peel off neatly after all of these excessive hours of painting. But yeah, just chipping away at going over it, and excited